All right, here is a study for the content of Genesis chapter 27. Sorry. We come to yet another story in Genesis where we see that the account of God with humanity is no morality tale. Isaac is getting older, is going blind, and so he wants to bless his oldest son because he doesn't know how much longer he's going to live. And that, of course, is his favorite son, Esau. But before he does this, he wants Esau to hunt and prepare some game for him. This echoes back to Jacob stealing Esau's birthright, as just as with Esau, Isaac is focused on food. The only problem is that Rebekah overhears this request and devises a plan. She tells Jacob to go out and get her two goats and to prepare for Isaac so that she can prepare them in the way that Isaac likes. Then he is to take uh, the food into him, and in this way would receive the blessing rather than Isaac. Now, Jacob protests to his mother of this plan, not because it's evil, not because it's deceptive, but because he might get caught. He says, I'm a smooth skinned man, and Esau is hairy. What if he touches me and discovers I'm tricking him? He will curse me instead of blessing me. Rebekah's response is twofold. First, he says that she will take herself, um, as in a way she will, because in the future Jacob is going to be forced to flee from her presence and she will not see him again for a long time. And second, she gets some of Esau's clothes and has, she will also take the curse um, on herself. Okay. Second, she gets some of Esau's clothes and has Jacob put them on. Also, she prepares the goats. She puts the skins on Jacob's exposed parts of his arms and his neck to mimic Esau's hairiness. She then goes into, he then will go into Isaac with the food Rebekah has prepared for his father. So what's happening here is Rebekah realizes that Jacob has a point, and so adds further layers to the deception by giving him Esau's clothes, so he will smell like Esau, and by binding the goat skins to expose part of Jacob because it'll make him appear hairy like his brother. This the series of deceptions here are unsettling. He first approaches Isaac with the greeting, my father. This makes what is about to happen all the more disturbing. This is Jacob's very own father, and he is deceiving him. He first said he first says that he is Esau, your firstborn, and then lies by claiming that he had gotten the game and prepared it for him as he had asked. Isaac is surprised that he has returned so soon, but when he asks Jacob about it, he attributes the success to God. Okay. Uh, that is a bold move. And again, we're not looking at a morality tale here. He brings God into the deception. So when Isaac calls for Jacob to come closer so he can determine if it is Isaac or not, he notes that that the voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's. Why? Because he's put goat's hair in his hands and it makes him more hairy. Rebecca's deception had worked, and so Isaac blesses him, but he has still not received the blessing. He asks Jacob again if he is Esau, and again he answers affirmatively. And so Isaac asking over and over again, it sends to me that he's got this question in the back of his mind. Anyway, then Isaac asks for the game meat to be brought to him and he eats it. So that is another test. Is it going to taste the way he likes? And it does, because Rebecca made it for him and Rebecca knows what he likes. His wife, who is obviously part of this deception. The final test comes when he asks Jacob to kiss him, And as he gets close, Isaac smells him, and it is the smell that convinces him that it's Esau, and he believes that this is in fact Esau. It seems again that part of Isaac knew that it was Jacob all along. He must have known Jacob's personality, or maybe even Rebekah's desire that Jacob receive the blessing. But anyway, uh, he, but in the end, he pronounces the blessing on Jacob. The blessing reflects in part the blessing given to Abraham, that he would prosper, that nations would serve him, and that those who curse him would be cursed, and those who blessed him would be blessed. Now, the last part of what we're going to look at in this chapter this week is that Jacob had scarcely left his father's presence when his brother Esau returned home from hunting. Jacob's just left the room, and then here comes Esau. And when Isaac realizes that he's been deceived, he is furious with Jacob, but he cannot revoke the blessing. Esau rightly notes that Jacob is a deceiver, just as his name implies. And while it is not really accurate to say that Jacob had deceived him concerning the birthright, there can be no doubt that the blessing was gained by deception. Isaac can give no blessing to Esau other than the promise that the day would come when his descendants would throw off Jacob's yoke. And so here we see God using human deception, human sinfulness, family dysfunction to fulfill his purposes. Because before these two boys were even born, God had spoken a word over them and said that the younger would be above the older, and that the older would serve the younger. And that's exactly how it turned about. So that's the chapter of Genesis, chapter 27, verses 1 to 40. And that's what we'll be looking at this week.